I didn't want a single brushstroke to be visible. I'd become obsessed with perfection. Finally had the strength and walked away from everything I had and owned in 2013. I never knew what I wanted to do when I was growing up. Anything I gravitated towards, I was told I wouldn't be able to succeed. There's no money in the arts for me to pursue my dreams. However, it didn't stop me. I always chose those particular subjects and went on to study performing arts at college. I kept writing poetry, which led me to co-write songs. I performed and sung in bands from the age of 16. What hindered me was my belief that I was never good enough. I felt I couldn't be me because I always seemed to have a hard time to be myself. Reactions were unpredictable and sometimes not safe. I always took the back road by focusing on my creativity part-time. My music and my art was always very important to me. It's how I made sense of the world. It didn't matter who I was. There was no judgment in creativity. I always understood the power of it, how it can unite the human race. I found I was able to express myself in lots of different ways through dance, music, photography, writing and art. It saved my life. I worked many different jobs just to get by and survive. I'm a creative hustler. I've always gigged and earned money from my talents. However, it was always sporadic and I was never content. I always was searching for the next thing. I loved to learn and always wanted to improve myself. It became a bit of an obsession. I was so obsessed with changing my looks and my persona to become the best I could be. Like with my paintings, I didn't want a single brushstroke to be visible. I'd become obsessed with perfection. I didn't realise I was in a toxic relationship and I was destroying myself staying in it. I had become completely stuck. Even when I started DJing, I felt like I was in competition with my partner and others at the time. I thought it was easier to let them be the better ones. It felt easier that way. I literally destroyed myself. I felt so alone. I wanted to die and hated my life. I slowly stopped singing over the years just to keep the peace. In the end, the only thing I had was my art. It gave me purpose. I committed and hid behind it. No one could take that away from me. Every bit of spare time I had, I focused on my art and my garden. Everything was becoming unbearable. I got really depressed. However, I kept on painting. My office job also became stagnant. Nothing seemed to be working. It realigned with my belief I'm not good enough. My art kept me strong. I finally had more counselling sessions in 2012 that made me see the patterns of how I gave myself away. I finally had the strength and walked away from everything I had and owned in 2013. Fast forward to 2017, I seized the opportunity to showcase my artwork in an underground exhibition at the Northern Seaman. I called it Kiss My Art. I was able to create a completely different atmosphere with disco lights and some of my DJ mixes of tech house music playing in the background. I created something magical in my paintings. The reaction was epic. People loved how they could interact with my work. Then the penny dropped. I could see my art reflected my story of my journey coming out of the dark and into the light.